The modern cultural landscape is driven by moments that transcend ordinary media coverage, transforming public figures into modern icons whose every step is cataloged, analyzed, and debated by millions of observers across the globe. In an era dominated by rapid digital communication and instantaneous social media feedback, the line between private milestones and massive public spectacles has completely blurred, creating an ecosystem where a single event can capture the collective attention of the entire world. For years, the public has watched the intersection of music, sports, and high-profile entertainment create unprecedented cultural phenomena, where global superstars dominate the headlines not just for their professional achievements, but for the narrative arcs of their personal journeys. When two monolithic forces from different spheres of global entertainment converge, the resulting gravity pulls in fans, critics, fashion enthusiasts, and casual onlookers alike, setting the stage for a moment that will be remembered for years to come. These monumental occasions are not just celebrations of personal milestones, but highly choreographed cultural touchstones that set trends, spark intense societal debates, and dominate internet discourse for days on end. Before diving into the intricate details of this massive gathering that has everyone talking, make sure to become a permanent part of our community by subscribing to the channel so you never miss an in-depth analysis of the defining moments in contemporary entertainment history. To truly understand the scale of what transpired over the weekend, one must first look at the sheer atmospheric weight of modern celebrity gatherings, where the guest list reads like a compilation of the most influential individuals in contemporary society. Madison Square Garden, a venue traditionally reserved for legendary musical performances, historic athletic battles, and massive arena-sized spectacles, was transformed into an ethereal, otherworldly landscape that seemed to defy the concrete reality of its New York City surroundings. This legendary arena, which has witnessed some of the most significant cultural events of the past century, became the canvas for an incredibly ambitious, whimsical, fairy tale garden-themed transformation that completely altered the physical space. Imagine entering a sprawling urban arena only to find it entirely remade into an enchanted woodland paradise filled with towering floral arrangements, cascading greenery, and thousands of carefully curated lights designed to mimic the natural glow of a twilight forest. Reports suggest that approximately 1,000 friends, family members, and high-profile industry peers gathered within this transformed sanctuary, creating an atmosphere charged with immense excitement and anticipation. The scale of the event was grander than anything seen in recent memory, drawing together titans of the music industry, prominent athletic figures, Hollywood elites, and influential tastemakers from every corner of the entertainment world. As the evening began to unfold, the expectations for this gathering reached a fever pitch, with the global audience eagerly awaiting any glimpse into the exclusive world hidden within the walls of the arena. For an event of this magnitude, the visual presentation of the attendees is not merely a personal choice, but a critical element of the overarching narrative, as the fashion choices of the elite guests often dictate global trends and dominate digital conversations. The designated dress code for this monumental evening was strictly black tie, a traditional standard that demands the highest level of elegance, sophistication, and formal adherence from every single individual granted entry into this exclusive circle. In the world of high society and celebrity galas, a black tie designation serves as an explicit instruction to embrace timeless elegance, subtle luxury, and respectful refinement, ensuring that the visual aesthetic of the collective gathering remains cohesive, grand, and elevated. Guests arrived in breathtaking bespoke tailored tuxedos and magnificent evening gowns that reflected the solemnity and romance of the historic occasion, each attempting to balance personal style with the strict stylistic parameters established by the hosts. However, in an environment where every single detail is magnified 1,000 times by the lens of public scrutiny and digital media, even the slightest departure from established expectations can ignite a wildfire of public commentary. Among the sea of classic silhouettes, muted tones, and traditional formal wear that filled the enchanted garden setting, one particular arrival immediately began to draw whispers and intense glances from fellow attendees and observers alike. It is within these highly controlled, pristine environments that individual artistic expression can sometimes clash dramatically with traditional social norms and expectations, creating a palpable tension that ripples through the crowd. As the massive gathering progressed, it became increasingly clear that the visual harmony of the evening was being challenged by a bold, uncompromising style statement that defied the expected conventions of standard wedding attire. The presence of this individual, who has long enjoyed a close and public relationship with the hosts, added a layer of unexpected drama to an already overwhelming spectacle, laying the groundwork for a massive digital debate that would soon erupt across multiple social platforms. What started as a quiet murmur within the corridors of Madison Square Garden quickly transformed into a full-scale internet sensation as images from the exclusive gathering began to leak out to the public, offering a glimpse of the controversial aesthetic choice. The public's fascination with the details of this event underscores a deeper societal obsession with the behavior, etiquette, and presentation of celebrities during private milestones that are projected onto a global stage. When a guest chooses to make a loud, dramatic visual statement at an event that is traditionally meant to focus entirely on the union of two individuals, it inevitably invites deep questions about modern etiquette, personal boundaries, and the evolving rules of high-fashion presentation. As the first part of this unfolding narrative draws to a close, the atmosphere remains thick with speculation and divided opinions, setting the stage for an intense examination of how a single fashion choice can overshadow a fairy tale evening and polarize millions of fans across the globe. The delicate balance of celebrity friendships and public expectations often collides in spectacular fashion when a private moment becomes a global talking point. To understand the intensity of the reaction that followed, one must trace the evolution of the bond between the bride and one of her most vocal, high-profile supporters who made a truly unforgettable entrance at Madison Square Garden. Camila Cabello, a global pop sensation in her own right, has frequently spoken about her deep admiration for Taylor Swift, famously labeling herself in past interviews as the biggest fan of the iconic singer. This genuine admiration eventually transformed into a close professional and personal relationship, cementing Camila's place among the elite group of peers invited to witness this fairy tale union. Given this history of mutual support and public affection, the anticipation surrounding Camila's appearance at the star-studded ceremony was exceptionally high, with fans expecting a display of celebratory elegance that would honor her longtime friend. However, the visual reality of her arrival would immediately disrupt these expectations, triggering an intense, multifaceted conversation about the invisible boundaries of wedding fashion and guest etiquette. Stepping into the beautifully transformed arena, Camila chose to completely break away from the traditional, understated palette typically expected of wedding guests, opting instead for a garment that seemed designed to capture every eye in the room. She arrived wearing a brilliant, fiery red lace gown designed by the acclaimed fashion label Zimmermann, a choice that immediately set her apart from the sea of classic black tie attire. The dress itself was an absolute masterclass in bold, dramatic design, featuring an off-the-shoulder silhouette that accentuated her neckline, balanced by voluminous, puffy sleeves with avant-garde arm cutouts. The upper portion of the gown boasted a plunging V neckline that added an undeniable edge of modern glamour, while the lower half consisted of a flowing, incredibly sheer skirt. This transparent lace fabrication offered an unmistakable, continuous glimpse of her legs and thighs as she moved through the enchanted garden setting, creating an ethereal yet highly provocative visual effect. To complete this striking ensemble, Camila wore a thick black choker adorned with a dazzling diamond cross paired with delicate, sparkly earrings that caught the light with every movement. The immediate reaction to this fashion-forward ensemble split the digital world down the center, igniting a fierce debate that rapidly escalated across multiple online communities and pop culture blogs. On one side of the argument, fashion purists, traditionalists, and protective fans expressed immediate shock and disapproval, viewing the vibrant color and sheer nature of the dress as a major breach of wedding guest decorum. In many cultures, wearing bright red to a wedding is traditionally seen as a taboo choice, often interpreted as a deliberate attempt to draw attention away from the bride and redirect the spotlight onto oneself. When combined with a naked dress aesthetic that relied so heavily on sheer lace and visible undergarments, the outfit was viewed by critics as highly inappropriate for a formal fairy tale-themed family celebration. Under a photograph of Camila shared by the prominent pop culture blog Douze-moi, a wave of critical commentary quickly began to accumulate as users expressed their disbelief. One highly upvoted comment asked with clear exasperation why Camila would choose to wear red to such an event, accompanied by symbols of utter disbelief. while another flatly stated that this was simply not the right choice for a wedding, offering a firm, disappointed refusal of the look. As the images spread from Instagram to other major discussion hubs like Reddit, the criticism grew increasingly pointed, with commentators dissecting every single element of the outfit with a mix of humor and genuine disapproval. The sheer fabric of the skirt became a primary target for critics who felt that showcasing undergarments at a formal black tie wedding crossed the line from high fashion daring into sheer tackiness. One observer joked about the prominent display of undergarments at a wedding, while another commentator called the look entirely tacky, especially given the solemn and romantic context of the evening. On the dedicated pop culture forums of Reddit, users echoed these sentiments, with one highly visible post noting that they would personally never choose to wear something so revealing to someone else's wedding. The sentiment that the gown was fundamentally a naked dress echoed throughout the discussion threads, with multiple users wondering aloud who thinks it is acceptable to wear such an outfit to a wedding celebration. One particularly critical user went so far as to ask if the choice of a see-through red dress indicated some underlying hostility toward the couple, while another described the wardrobe choice as an incredibly risky and questionable decision despite the heavy torrent of criticism. A powerful counter-narrative quickly emerged from fashion enthusiasts and defenders who argued that standard social rules do not apply to an event of this magnitude. This perspective suggested that a wedding between two of the biggest entertainment icons on the planet is not a normal, traditional family gathering, but an extension of the entertainment industry itself. For a star-studded event hosted inside Madison Square Garden with 1,000 celebrity guests, the occasion was viewed by many as a high-profile red carpet where theatricality, drama, and boundary-pushing fashion were not only welcomed but actively expected. Proponents of this view praised Camila for bringing high-fashion energy to the evening, arguing that she looked absolutely stunning and perfectly matched the larger-than-life atmosphere of a celebrity spectacular. One supportive user wrote that because the entire wedding was essentially a massive piece of show business, the transparent nature of the gown did not bother them at all, concluding that she looked fantastic. Another defender agreed wholeheartedly, stating that at a high-profile celebrity wedding, the rules are fundamentally different, and guests were clearly encouraged to go all out in terms of dramatic looks and visual storytelling. This fascinating divide highlighted a much larger cultural conversation about the nature of modern celebrity events and whether traditional rules of etiquette still hold weight in an era dominated by visual branding and viral moments. Even those who found themselves caught in the middle of the debate, loving the aesthetic design of the Zimmermann dress itself, admitted that choosing it as a wedding guest outfit felt wild and chaotic. The tension between celebrating a friend's marriage and maintaining one's personal brand as a daring pop icon created a perfect storm of internet commentary, ensuring that Camila's red lace gown became an inseparable part of the wedding's overall narrative. As the digital sphere continued to argue over the appropriateness of the look, the focus began to shift toward the deeper implications of this fashion choice within the context of the highly publicized event. The unfolding drama provided a stark reminder of how a single wardrobe choice can instantly polarize millions of people, transforming a festive evening into an intense examination of modern style, respect, and social boundaries on the global stage. The deeper significance of this viral style controversy extends far beyond a simple disagreement over a wedding outfit, touching upon the complex dynamics of high-profile relationships, career trajectories, and the evolving nature of public identity in the modern entertainment industry. To fully comprehend the gravity of this moment, one must examine the incredible journeys of the individuals involved, each of whom has carved out a distinct and massive space in contemporary culture. The hosts of this monumental evening have spent years navigating the intense pressures of global fame, building careers that have redefined their respective fields and brought them into the constant glare of the public eye. For Taylor Swift, the journey from a young acoustic songwriter to an undisputed titan of the global music industry has been marked by an unparalleled ability to connect with millions of people through deeply personal storytelling and massive, record-breaking stadium tours that have reshaped the economic and cultural landscape of live entertainment. Her union with Travis Kelce, an elite athlete whose legendary achievements on the football field have earned him multiple championship rings and a reputation as one of the greatest to ever play his position, represented a historic intersection of two completely different worlds of American pop culture. creating a partnership that caught the imagination of the entire planet. When individuals of this cultural magnitude choose to celebrate a personal milestone, every aspect of the event is infused with structural meaning, turning a private commitment into a historical record that will be studied and discussed for generations. The decision to host the Fairy Tale Garden ceremony inside Madison Square Garden, an arena with its own deeply rooted history of hosting legendary performances and iconic athletic achievements, underscored the sheer scale of their collective influence and the reality that their lives are lived on a truly grand stage. In an environment where every single seat is occupied by a recognizable figure from the worlds of art, sport, fashion, and media, the social expectations placed upon the guests are immense, requiring a delicate balance between individual artistic expression and collective respect for the occasion. It is within this highly pressurized elite environment that Camila Cabello made her bold stylistic choice, a decision that must be viewed through the lens of her own remarkable journey as an artist who has consistently embraced boldness, vulnerability, and a fierce dedication to her personal vision. Emerging from a highly successful group dynamic to establish herself as a dominant solo force on the global music charts, Camila has always used fashion as an explicit extension of her musical identity, often opting for vibrant colors, dramatic silhouettes, and avant-garde designs that challenge conventional boundaries. Her deep and public connection to the bride adds a layer of emotional complexity to the situation, as their relationship was built on a foundation of genuine artistic admiration and years of shared experiences within the competitive corridors of the music industry. By stepping out in the bright red see-through Zimmermann gown, Camila was not merely selecting a piece of clothing from a rack, but actively engaging with a long history of high-fashion presentation that prioritizes artistic statement over traditional social conformity. For her supporters, this outfit was a celebration of theatricality and confidence, a visual manifestation of a pop star operating at the peak of her creative powers within an environment that was explicitly designed to be a massive show business spectacle. This perspective argues that a celebrity wedding of this scale is a fundamentally unique cultural space, a hybrid event that functions simultaneously as a sacred personal milestone and a global red carpet media event where standard rules of domestic etiquette are completely superseded by the demands of high-fashion performance. From this viewpoint, the sheer fabric and vibrant color were not an act of disrespect but a highly conscious contribution to the overall drama, glamour, and visual grandeur of an unforgettable evening that was meant to push the boundaries of what a modern wedding could be. Conversely, the persistent wave of online criticism highlights a deep-seated societal desire to maintain certain traditional boundaries and standards of respect, even within the highly detached and surreal world of elite celebrity culture. The intense pushback from commentators across platforms like Reddit and Instagram suggests that for a large portion of the public, the fundamental essence of a wedding remains unchanged, regardless of whether the participants are ordinary citizens or global icons. In this view, a wedding guest's primary responsibility is to serve as a supportive background presence, ensuring that the visual focus and emotional spotlight remain entirely centered on the couple embarking on a new chapter of their lives together. By choosing an outfit that generated immediate, polarizing headlines and dominated the digital discourse surrounding the event, Camila inadvertently shifted a portion of the collective attention onto herself, creating a stylistic distraction that critics felt detracted from the romance and solemnity of the fairy tale celebration. This ongoing clash between traditional expectations of personal decorum and the modern drive for individual visual branding lies at the very heart of the controversy, offering a fascinating glimpse into how society continuously negotiates the rules of behavior in an increasingly connected and visually driven world, as the conversation continues to ripple outward, capturing the attention of fashion critics, cultural commentators, and millions of fans around the world. The event serves as a powerful case study in the mechanics of modern viral culture. A single photograph shared on a pop culture blog can instantly trigger a global debate, mobilizing opposing factions who use the medium of celebrity fashion to discuss deeper values regarding friendship, respect, etiquette, and artistic freedom. The discussion ultimately leaves the public with a captivating question that reflects the shifting sands of contemporary social norms, forcing observers to examine their own beliefs about where personal expression should end and traditional respect should begin. Do you consider Camila Cabello's bold, fiery, red lace ensemble to be an inspired choice that perfectly matched the grand, larger-than-life energy of a historic celebrity spectacular? Or do you believe that certain timeless rules of wedding etiquette should always be preserved, making such a look better suited for another occasion? The final judgment remains in the hands of the audience, whose diverse perspectives continue to shape the narrative of an evening that will undoubtedly be remembered as much for its boundary-pushing fashion as for its fairy tale romance. Share your thoughts and join the conversation.